I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, December the 3rd, 2014. Two Israelis were injured this afternoon in what is thought to have been a terror attack near the West Bank city of Ma'ale Adumim, east of Jerusalem. The attack took place in the industrial zone of Mishor Adumim inside the Rami Levy supermarket, where a Palestinian man reportedly stabbed the two victims, said to be in their 50s. The assailant, said to be from the Arab village of Al-Azariya, was then shot in the legs by an off-duty security guard at the market and arrested. Two other Palestinians were arrested, suspected of aiding the attacker. The two victims are said to be in moderate condition. They were evacuated to Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem. Israelis will be heading to the polls on March the 17th of next year to elect a new government. Speaker of the Knesset Yuli Edelstein announced the date today as members of Israel's Knesset voted unanimously to dissolve the Knesset. As you may have seen on IBA News, in a preliminary vote today, 84 Knesset members voted in favor of the dissolution of the Knesset with one abstention. Second and third readings to finalize the measure will take place on Monday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had announced there would be new elections last night after firing Justice Minister Tzipi Livni and Finance Minister Yair Lapid for what he said were relentless attacks against the government and its policies. Netanyahu said he wanted early elections in order to, quote, receive a clear mandate from the people to lead Israel. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, while saying the U.S. would not comment on the internal Israeli issue, expressed hope for Israel's next government. Kerry said, obviously, we hope that whatever government is formed is a government that can negotiate and move towards resolving the differences between Israelis and Palestinians, and obviously the differences in the region. Adding that whatever the outcome of the elections in March, we will continue to be supportive of our friend and our ally, the State of Israel. The Israeli man who was critically injured on Monday in the West Bank after he was thought to have been run over by a car has died. 63-year-old Avi Ben Sion from the Netiv Hagdud settlement in the West Bank was driving past the Alon Junction in the West Bank Monday when he was stopped by several Palestinians who then pulled him out of his car, hit his head with an iron bar, and took off with his vehicle. He was found lying on the road and evacuated to the hospital in critical condition and today died of his injuries. 3 Palestinian suspects have been arrested. We had reported the incident to you this week as it was suspected Ben Sion was perhaps intentionally hit by a car. Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, and the IDF are still trying to determine if the incident was nationalistically motivated or criminal. Ben Sion's family maintains that it was a terror attack. Al Jazeera reports that on Monday, a young Jewish couple in a suburb of Paris was brutally attacked by 3 armed men who broke into their home, bound and gagged them, robbed them, and raped the woman, reportedly telling the couple that they must have money because they are Jewish. The European Jewish Congress, as well as the Jewish community in Créteil, where the attack took place, expressed their shock and horror over the brutal incident, as did the American Jewish Committee Paris branch, who said firmer action on anti-Semitism was urgently needed. Director of AJC Paris, Simone Rodin-Benzaken, said after the attack, enough is enough. She will meet together with AJC Executive Director David Harris this week with Gilles Clavroux, France's new interministerial delegate to fight against racism and anti-Semitism. Jailed Jewish-American contractor Alan Gross marked the first day today of his 6th year in a Cuban prison. Gross was sentenced in December of 2009 to 15 years in prison in Cuba for, quote, crimes against the state, for supplying computers and internet access to the Jewish community there while working as a contractor for the U.S. Agency for International Development. Last night, Deputy State Department spokeswoman Marie Harf said Gross's imprisonment was unjustified and called for his immediate release. Gross's wife Judy released a statement today warning that it may soon be too late for her husband. She said Alan is resolved that he will not endure another year imprisoned in Cuba, and I am afraid that we are at the end. Gross is now 65 and in poor health, having lost over 100 pounds in prison. and suffering from various ailments. He had said back in August that he could no longer take life in prison. The U.S. House of Representatives unanimously passed a bill yesterday that would end Social Security payments to former Nazis. The bill closed a loophole that had allowed former Nazis to continue receiving benefits after they agreed to leave the U.S. The No Social Security for Nazis Act was sponsored by Republican Representative Sam Johnson of Texas, Democratic Representative Javier Becerra of California, and Republican Dave Camp and Democrat Sandra Levin, both of Michigan. And turning now to our programming for tonight, Mark Golub sits down with op-ed writer and novelist Thane Rosenbaum, director of the Forum on Law, Culture, and Society at NYU Law School, who talks about Israel and Israel's critics and what it means to be an authentic liberal. That's tonight on JBS and jbstv.org. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, December the 3rd, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.